Hello there. I am Shawnee, Dr. Om from Hadiya Movement Systems, and I wanted to hop on today to do a brief tutorial. So this was inspired, a downward facing dog tutorial. So this was inspired by a Facebook post that I put out. And I just said, what yoga pose gives you the most trouble, or do you struggle with, or anything like that? And one of my former clients said, downward facing dog. And I was like, oh wow. And it's so interesting. You just never know. I'm thinking it'll be something, super something or other. And then we think of down dog as being a staple, a foundational, basic kind of pose. And when we think about it, it is very complex. And so for her or anyone out there, I wanted to do a brief tutorial. So show some progressions, maybe some hints, some help, things like that. And then we can find more ease and facility in our down dog, okay? So one of the things that she said in particular had more to do with her lower body. And so some structural things, but also her a tightness in her hamstrings. And I would probably add calves all the way to ankles and heels perhaps. So if you're not already warm, why don't you go ahead and do that? Just shake things out a bit and move things around, generate a little bit of heat. Also though, for some people, it's the upper body, strengthen the upper body, okay? So one of the things that we can do first is actually to raise the hands. So here is essentially a traditional down dog. Okay, so it's like kind of an upside down V, and our hips are high, our hands are shoulder width apart, our feet are hip width apart. Usually you can put the feet together, but I prefer to have them in the more natural alignment with the hips. I like my fingers nice and wide, armpits kind of moving toward the knees, and sending the hips up and back, and the heels down and back. And my gaze, my drishti, is either between my feet or my knees, maybe all the way up to my navel. Okay, so if this is a little bit challenging, one of the things, like I said, is you can raise the hands up a bit, and maybe a low table or a chair or something. So up on this couch here, even this, okay, it's an adaptation, it's a modification just to get the feel of being upside down. So Adho Mukha Svanasana is an inversion, okay? So my head is below my heart and lungs, and so that basically means an inversion, a lot of weight on the hands and the little wrist bones and stuff, and so we want to be mindful of those joints. When that feels fairly comfortable, you feel stable and strong, you can go a little bit lower, and you can use 2 blocks. You can use anything you have though, but has some structure and stability to it, okay? But the hands up here and stepping the feet back. And one of the things you can also do with those maybe tight hamstrings or calves is pedal out the feet. And basically that just means raising and lowering the heels, alternating side to side. You can walk the feet in a bit toward the hands and bend the knees. So one of the things we really want to do is get those heels down, make full contact with the bottoms of our feet with the surface, and then maybe slowly step back. And once the heels kind of come up, that's where we can stop and breathe a few times and allow the heels to lower. One of the things that can help with that is coming into a bit of a squat, just practicing lowering the hips, resting the chest and belly on the thighs is a good way to allow gravity to lower the heels toward the floor, toward the mat. And then you can get up again and try again, and sending the feet back, back, back. So the hands a little bit higher is helpful. And one other thing might be bear walks, okay? And maybe you did this in phys ed as a kid or something, but you really bend the knees and really separate the feet. And see if you can do this. And the walking part, you know, you can kind of take a couple steps forward, a couple steps back, right? But with really a nice deep bend in the knees and nice and wide. Just getting the feeling of being in this position can be helpful. And even before it arrived in India, you know, we can think of Nut, we can think of the sky goddess, the Netter, the one who we see in the hieroglyphics, upside down, blanketing over the earth, right? Sometimes we can bring in something cultural or spiritual to give us some inspiration, right? She who watches over, who nourishes, supports, and protects all of the beings on the earth. So thinking about lowering the heels so we can elongate the calves and the hamstrings, raising the hands up as we need to kind of give us more stability in that way, right? If there's a lot of weight on the hands, and so raising them up alleviates some of that weight, some of that pressure. And then also maybe those bear walks, okay? Kind of forward and back. All right, coming forward and back. And then before you know it, you can remove your supports, place the hands shoulder width apart, feet hip width apart, send those feet back and the hips up, armpits toward the knees, and our gaze between the knees if we like. And we can find that beautiful pose and find the ease in it, is what we might be looking for. So just leaving it there, just a few hints and just a few ways that we can build up to that signature pose of downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, or Nut if you prefer. And hopefully that'll help my former client and maybe help a couple other folks out there. I'm Shawnee, Dr. Om. This is Hadiya Movement Systems, and I hope to see you another time. Take care and ashe.